Kia ora. In today's news, the government maintains there are jobs for beneficiaries facing new work obligation policies. Opponents of the welfare reforms, like Greens co-leader Materia Ture, say there are no jobs and declared the government's policies don't make sense.
They are cutting jobs out of the public service, thousands of jobs. So they are increasing the dog queues and then placing unjustifiable work testing obligations on these families.
Social Development Minister Paula Bennett admits moving off a benefit into work isn't always easy, but says there are jobs and it can be done.
Well, we had 6,000 in January this year alone go off benefit and into work. We certainly saw an increase in jobs last year. We've got fewer on the benefit, and particularly the youth benefit, now than we did in January last year.
The Army is investigating a crash between two of its vehicles in the Bulla district last night. The light armoured vehicles collided on a blind corner of a dirt track while participating on a training exercise. 4 soldiers were taken to hospital with injuries. There's to be a ministerial inquiry after a convicted sex offender was found working in the education sector in breach of parole. Minister Hekia Parata indicates the person was employed at up to 8 schools before being identified.
This case is somewhat exceptional in that it appears that multiple identities have been used.
Details are suppressed by court order. The Rendezvous Hotel in the Christchurch Red Zone won't meet its opening deadline. It had hoped to open by Thursday for guests arriving for the Ellerslie International Flower Show. However, the building is still undergoing engineering checks and likely to remain closed for a further fortnight. The Maritime Union is incensed after discovering the ports of Auckland is advertising in Australia. Gary Parslow says the jobs advertised are to replace striking wharfies.
This is just unbelievable. I've never heard of an employer anywhere in the world doing things like that so blatantly confrontational.
Police have charged the Greenpeace Port Taranaki protesters with burglary charges. 7 activists were arrested after their occupation of an oil drilling ship and will appear in court on Thursday. Burglary is defined as breaking and entering into any building or ship without authority and with intent to commit a crime. The Criminal Bar Association is challenging against a legal aid rule change which sets fixed law fees for criminal aid work. But Justice Minister Judith Collins believes the reforms are necessary as legal aid costs have ballooned to $172 million a year.
The reforms have been in place now for some time under my predecessor, and all the advice I have is that they're very robust, so we'll wait and see.
Britain's agricultural sector is on alert as a potentially fatal virus spreads among sheep and cattle across southern England. The Schmallenberg virus produces fever, diarrhoea and loss of milk production in adult cattle. It's been confirmed at 74 farms. To Afghanistan, police say at least 9 people have been killed by a suicide car bomb attack near a regional airport in Jalalabad. It's the latest violent incident since the accidental burning of Qurans by US soldiers in Afghanistan. Another Italian passenger ship is in trouble. The Costa Allegra is drifting without power off the Seychelles after a fire broke out on board. The Allegra is from the same fleet as the capsized Costa Concordia. The Coast Guard has been deployed to its aid. Those are the headlines from the RBG News team. Paul Marie.